Welcome to Around the Weird. Here's your host, the museum curator of the strange and unusual, Mr. Nothing.
Thank you, Mysterious Voice, and welcome back to Around the Weird, a booktube channel where I talk about all the unusual and out of the ordinary literature that I have found in my travels. Today, it is Short Story Tuesday, a fun day to talk about all the short form literature that I have encountered, whether it be weird or sometimes normal. It's always good to explore the weird from, around the world, because that's the theme of the channel. And today, I have an interesting one for you. It is about a necklace and an obsession with appearing wealthy. I am referring to The Necklace by Guy de Maupassant, which was written in 1888. For those who don't know, Guy de Maupassant, if I'm pronouncing that right, is a French, or was a French author who lived in the 1800s, the latter half of the 1800s. He was known for writing quite a few short stories, kind of like O. Henry. Is considered maybe the father of the modern short story. And many of his stories had a twist ending that was funny or comical in some way. And besides writing short stories, he also wrote novels, quite a few. And the one that I'm talking about today, The Necklace, was actually published in a couple of years before his death. So this is probably one of the ones that have most of his craft there. Whereas you probably wouldn't see that in any of the earlier short stories that he wrote. But given that he only lived for like 40 years, he wrote quite a bit, which I find to be very, very interesting. He was a naturalist, and he also wrote about France and also the Franco-Prussian War that took place in the late 1800s. That was kind of a theme of his writing. So I didn't really know about this author before, but I had this short story recommended to me quite a bit as I was looking for short stories, and I finally decided to check this one out because I wanted to read a bit of an older one, as I've been reading a lot of newer short stories recently. But without further ado, let's talk about The Necklace. I will do a summary, a little bit of an analysis, and we will move on from there. So The Necklace focuses on Madame Loisel and her husband. They are living in an upper class. They're living in an upper class lifestyle in France. It's clear that Madame Loisel doesn't really like her life. Her husband's a clerk. He seems to be fine with it, but she's unhappy. She wants more. She wants the appearance of wealth. She wants money. She wants dinner parties. She wants to be able to hang out amongst the rich folks without appearing to be shameful or anything like that. And she does have that opportunity when one evening her husband comes home and tells her that they've been invited to a party at the House for the Ministry of Education, and Madame Loisel just tosses the invitation aside, noting that she doesn't have a dress or doesn't have the clothing that she needs to be at a party amongst the rich. And her husband, who was saving up some money for a hunting gun, gives that money to her to buy a dress. And then after she has the dress, starts pouting again. That's the only way I can describe it. And it's like, I don't have any jewelry to go along with it. To which her husband says, "You idiot, go see your friend Madame Forrester, as she's wealthy and she might have some jewelry that you can borrow." And while at Madame Forrester, Madame Loisel ends up getting a pretty fancy necklace from her. And she goes to the party, has a great time, manages to connect with a bunch of people, and her husband falls asleep in an anteroom where other husbands were apparently sleeping because their wives were still partying up till 4 a.m. They take a taxi home, and Madame Loisel appears to rush home because she doesn't want the the party hostess to see that she doesn't have fancy furs or anything like that. But when she wakes up the next morning, she discovers that she has lost her necklace. And she begins searching all around for it and discovers that she can't find it. And she doesn't want to upset Madame Forrester, so she and her husband borrow a lot of money in an effort to get a replacement. And they give the replacement to Madame Forrester in a box, and Madame Forrester doesn't open the box. So she doesn't really like what's the word? She doesn't know that there's been a replacement at all. And because they borrowed money, the Loisels now have to work extremely hard, get rid of their servants, live a life of somewhat poverty, although it seems that most of their needs are taken care of, so it's not too bad. But this lasts for about 10 years. And at the end of those 10 years, Madame Loisel is noticeably changed, a bit older, and she's known struggle now, whereas before she probably didn't. And while she is walking through the city, she encounters Madame Forrester, and she's like, okay, I can come clean now since we paid off the loans. And she tells Madame Forrester about this, and Madame Forrester just laughs and replies, oh, that necklace wasn't actually real. It was a fake. And so the implication being that the Loisels worked that hard for nothing. In terms of analysis, there's a little bit to talk about here. The first thing that I think Guy de Maupassant is talking about is the appearance of wealth and an obsession with the appearance of wealth. Madame Loisel, at the start of the story, the narrator is talking about her, and it's clear that she's unhappy with her life right now. Like, she appears to want more money, but as the story goes on, it's clear that Loisel doesn't just want money, she wants the appearance of wealth. She wants people to see her as wealthy. She wants to hobnob with the rich elites, and she just wants to be able to hang around them without feeling shame about where she is in life. It's described that she wants this big house filled with sprawling rooms. She wants great furniture. She wants to be able to host dinner parties with the other elites. And there's some talk about some fancy silverware as well. And it's clear that it's not really, again, like, it's not really the wealth that matters too much to her. It's more of the illusion or the appearance that you're wealthy that matters most. There's a good quote that I would like to read to you from this. "What's the matter? You've been acting strange these last 3 days. She replied, I'm upset that I have no jewels, not a single stone to wear. I will look cheap. I would almost rather not go to the party. And later, Madame Loisel says, no, there is nothing more humiliating than looking poor in the middle of a lot of rich women. And so it's clear through these quotes, through what she's saying here, that the thing that matters most to her is not having money. She clearly does have the means to make ends meet at this point in her life. But what matters most to her is the opinions of others. That she wants others to be like, oh, look at this person, they're wealthy, aren't they fabulous and great. She doesn't want them to look down on her with shame, which I'm sure they're not doing. Like, at no point does it look like those of wealth are taking pity upon the Loisels. And even she's friends with, like, Madame Forrester, who apparently has some wealth to her, and she's not really looking down on her. But Loisel is so concerned with this appearance of wealth and this thought that only the wealthy are shameless or something like that. And that's all she can think of, that she has to have this wealth or this appearance in order to live a fulfilling life. And the other element of the story that is 100% worth talking about is the irony or the twist ending, because Guy de Maupassant makes use of those elements in this story. Because at the start of as the story progresses, Madame Loisel loses the necklace and works really hard getting rid of her wealth, essentially any money that she does have, getting rid of her servants and living a lowly lifestyle in order to make ends meet to get to pay for the necklace that they bought as a replacement for Madame Forrester. And so at the end of the story, we find out that the original necklace was an imitation. Essentially, all that struggle, all that worry was for nothing because the necklace was ultimately valueless. Like they replaced it with something that was far more expensive than the one that they had purchased that existed in the first place, and so that's a classic use of irony. Like if you refer to like a bunch of other stories, like O. Henry's The Gift of the Magi, where the couple buys gifts for one another, but in order to purchase those gifts, they have to sell something of their own, which corresponds to the gift that the other person has given to them. And ultimately what matters most is love, but that is a twist ending. That is love, a good example of irony right there. And I do also have to wonder, is that like cosmic punishment for this obsession, or divine punishment? Is fate, destiny, or is God themselves punishing Madame Loisel for her obsession with wealth, for this perceived sin in society, because greed and pride and stuff like that are sin. So you could argue on some sense that Madame Loisel is being punished, cosmically speaking, in this story, or even divinely. I don't think that that's what Maupassant is trying to get at. I think this is trying to be comical more than anything else, but I think that argument is there. And there's enough in the writing that suggests that as well. So another interesting element of the story. Anyway, those are my thoughts on The Necklace by Guy de Maupassant. A pretty fun short story to read. I certainly enjoyed the twist ending. I thought it was pretty comical. Definitely funny in the sense of other short stories that I've read from like O. Henry, where like The Merry Month of May or Gift of the Magi, where you have this entire story with these characters worrying, and then you have what essentially amounts to a Shaggy dog joke, where it's like, oh, this wasn't actually as important as you thought it was. So while it doesn't undermine the story, it is still very funny. And so yeah, I'm definitely going to recommend it to you out there. Go check it out. It's available online, so I'll put a link to it in the description. Otherwise, if you read this before, let me know in the comments what you thought of it or what you think of my review. It's always good to have a discussion about this. Otherwise, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that more people can find out about this author and a short story. I think it might be taught in elementary school or high school, like literature classes. It might be one of those like base stories that we share with others. But if it's not, this video will probably help make more people aware of it. And other than that, I wish you the best of luck in your weird and obsession with wealth travels. Farewell.